Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Writer's Parachute, where we are guiding writer and author dreams to a perfect landing. And today we have with us a special guest, Colleen Valles, who is here with us with her first book, the Book of Star Demons. It is part of the Fifth Sun series. This is book one that she just released. We're very excited to have her with us today. She's an author and writer. But of course, before we get started, we have just a little bit of housekeeping to do. So we're going to talk about that. Don't forget to go follow us at the Writer's Parachute on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. That is at Writer Parachute with no S. Obviously, we want you to follow us on the podcasting platforms. It is available at all podcasting platforms that are available and on YouTube. Please do make sure that you follow, share, like, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. So now to get on with our show, we want to go ahead and continue our series where we are talking about this is the season for upcoming events and awards for writers and authors. There are many, many events going on through the spring, all through summer, into fall, and clearly into early winter. So we're going to talk about a few of those things. We're also going to talk about the awards. A lot of the award seasons are opening up right now for submissions for awards that you might want to go check those out. So we always ask you, if you have a recommendation for an event or an award, please add that to the comments for us so we can go check those out and recommend those to other people. So today we're going to talk about, for the event, is the Orange County Festival of Books. Now that's mostly for children's books, but it is one of the bigger events out there for children's books. Now I do believe that they do have other books, but it is most specifically geared towards children's books. But I do encourage you to check that out. I believe that the normal dates for that is in November of each year. There are also other events specifically geared towards children's book going into the month of November, which is Children's Book Month, that you can check out in and around the United States. Also, we want to talk about awards. Now, this is another one of those that kind of straddles the line between a review and an award, but it is one of the more recognized ones, especially if you are writing in any kind of book that is in a children's genre. Now I know this feels like we're stuck in children's a lot, but that is what I know the most. We will expand that to include other categories. But if you have a book that is anywhere near a children's genre, or even in young adult, as with Colleen, is the Mom's Choice Awards. It is a award program. It is a little bit more expensive than a lot of the other ones, but it does bring with it a lot of clout. There's nothing greater than being able to say that you are a Mom's Choice Gold Medal winner when you're talking about a book for children, and they do have some pretty stringent guidelines for it. So I do encourage you to go check that out and see if you would like to submit your book or books for a Mom's Choice Award. So again, don't forget to leave in the comments any other awards or events that you know about that you would like for us to check out and recommend to our audience. So let's go ahead and move on. And of course, today we want to welcome Colleen Valles and her book, the Book of Star Demons. It is the first book in the Fifth Sun series. And Colleen is a California native. She is a former reporter and donut connoisseur, kind of person I could get behind. She is the author of the Fifth Sun series, an urban fantasy featuring fire, fingers, shapeshifters, and Aztec deities. Wow, that's a mouthful. She's still wanting to develop her own magical powers, and until then, she'll just continue to write about characters who have them. Colleen lives with her family and Labrador Retriever when she's not writing. She enjoys hiking, leisurely bike rides, and a paved and well-maintained trails, and tea. Lots and lots of tea. And yes, because people always ask, as did I, it is pronounced Valles. So welcome, Colleen. How are you today?
Good, Donna. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Oh,
Can't wait to talk.
Yeah, we are so excited to have you with us today. So this series, this book, I haven't
Mhm.
got all the way through it, but it is so interesting and it's kind of kept me on the edge of my seat. I hate putting it down because I really want to keep going. I'm like, I know there's something more coming around the corner. Oh, I'm so close, you know. So what inspired you to write this book and series specifically for the YA genre?
Well, it's actually, the character is 28 years old, so it's not entirely YA.
Mhm.
But I was inspired. I like to tell people that the events are based on a true story. So I, I had a family book that I had taken to a bookbinder who's very difficult. It was extremely difficult to find a bookbinder in my area. I wanted to get it rebound for my parents. Then the bookbinder died, and I couldn't get the book. And so that is actually how this book starts out. And some of the characters are actual people that I ran into when I was having this adventure myself. But of course, it does veer off fairly soon into urban fantasy. My life has not veered off into urban fantasy yet. So, yeah. And
Well,
so that's what inspired me.
well, I always say that my life is some kind of fantasy. I'm just not getting to enjoy it like everybody else is.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly.
the way it goes. So, what I love about this book is there is a certain sense of just, this is just life going on, and this is things happening to the main character in this book. But also, it has all of this like mystical, mythological kind of history, all kind of woven together in this weird little tapestry that just literally, as I said, has been keeping me on the edge of my seat. I really wish I had had more time to finish. So, what can you tell us a bit about this specific book and series? What is
Mhm.
the main arc or the story that you're going with in this book and the series?
Yeah, so for this series, I'm focusing on Aztec mythology as a jumping off point for the magical system and the world that is that I build in the books. And I did that because growing up, I didn't really see much representation of my culture in just regular stories. And I remember reading Catcher in the Rye and just being like, ah, not again. Like, here's this guy. I can't relate to him. I don't understand his lifestyle. I don't, understand the way life is on the other side of the country because, regional differences and things like that. So California is very different from the East Coast, from the South, from the Midwest. So I wanted to write something that came from my experience, but also like showcase my culture. And there are so many rich cultures and mythologies out there that just have such great stories attached to them. And you can pick any jumping off point and you can just go so deep into them. It's really, really interesting. I've learned a lot, and I hope my readers learn a lot. A lot of what is in there is um, our real places, our real myths, real beliefs. Not everything. I've kind of
Mhm.
taken some things and um, tweaked them to fit my story, but it's
Yes, we
fiction.
call that
So
creative license.
yeah, exactly. So
Well,
yeah.
and I think that's part of what's keeping me on the edge of my seat because it's a little bit of like a treasure hunt with history and mythology and all of these characters and a little bit of history thrown in and some like rumors and myths going on and
Uh-huh.
all of this surrounding this one, and it's just you're just like, well, wow, what's gonna pop up next? What's gonna happen
Yeah.
next? I'm just like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to juggle. So why did you include mythology and specifically Aztec mythology? Now, I do know that you want to represent your culture, which I think is
Hmm.
an amazing thing because that is one of the number one things that I hear from kids when I go into school is that they don't feel like they can see themselves in the character. So I do
Yeah.
love that. But specifically Aztec mythology. I didn't know much about it.
Yeah, well, it was interesting because I knew a little bit about a couple of the gods here and there, kind of the major ones that everybody knows about. And so I knew that the American Southwest basically was known as Aztlan, which was the mythical homeland of the Aztecs. Like the legend has it that they started here and then migrated south to Mexico City, where they set up the big city and empire that the Spanish came and conquered. So I already knew that. I learned it like back in college or something. So I just thought that was a way to incorporate my homeland, California,
Right.
into this larger picture, into a larger world, because I wanted it set in a place that I knew. And so that's why I chose that. And then as I went, I encountered issues in the story. I'm like, oh, I need to figure out how, what magical systems they have, or what kind of things the gods can do that I need my characters to do. Like, I need to put it all together. And so I do a little bit of research, and I things would just kind of fall into place. It was really sort of magical, like, the way it happened. And I was like, wow, I got really lucky, I feel like, choosing that.
Well, and you did such an amazing job of weaving all of those really kind of hard to understand concepts and ideas and cultural differences and locales and kind of history, because history is also very cultural, because how you're taught history depends a lot of times on your culture and your
Yeah.
family background, because I did not know that this was, that California, or the southwestern part of the United States, was the original home, or thought to be the original home, for the Aztecs. I just always had learned that they were only ever in the peninsula, and in Mexico and stuff like that. So that was interesting to learn. So I felt like I was getting an education. I was being entertained, and I was being kept on the edge of my seat. And I was just like, and I really have to applaud you for a first book. This is an amazing journey. So
Hey, thank you.
I really want to continue reading that. So I know you have follow-up titles. This is a series. So when can we expect those titles, and do we have the title name set yet?
Yeah, so I'm thinking there's going to be probably 5 books in the series. And the second book is Army of Star Demons, and that one is currently in edits. Yeah, yay! Well, it's a lot of work. So
Yes.
yeah.
So
I'm hoping to get that one out in May.
In May. Oh, wow. So
I'm hoping. We'll see how the edits go.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
We'll keep checking back. I mean, we'll link you to all of her social media. I'm sure she's gonna blast it out there and let you know when it goes live. This one's been out for just a little over a month, and as I said, I'm very, very impressed. So I know that most authors run into some kind of challenge, and that's what we do here on the Writer's Parachute. We try to be inclusive and let everybody know that nobody's writing journey goes perfectly. I mean, it does. I mean, you should, honestly, I think you should go light a candle, or
right,
or something to the edit gods, because it's very rare. So in talking about that, everybody runs into some kind of invisible wall, or a problem, or a challenge. So what did you run into when you were going on your journey?
So I ran into a number of different issues. I will say the one that has been plaguing me the most now is the blurb. I wrote it, I don't know how many times, finally settled on one. And then in the last month, I've been like, well, I don't really think it's doing what it needs to do. So now I'm going to try rewriting it. And, I feel like it's a little bit trial and error. Like, I got to let it go and see how it does. But also, I think, there's wisdom out there about how to write a good blurb. So I'm going to try and incorporate that.
Right. Well, I usually try to advise people to think of their back cover copy is what she's talking about. It's on the back of the book. It's the little blurb or description of the book. And what I try to think is it translates most readily to like a movie trailer.
Mhm.
So, a lot of times when you see these movie trailers, they're filled with all the exciting moments without really telling you much of anything. And oftentimes it kind of is a little misleading. And back cover copies can be a little bit like that. In fact, you want to be that. It's all about, leaving, your potential reader on the edge of their seat. You want to create curiosity, intrigue, and leave them wanting more. So, but that's a nebulous thing to try and grab hold of, because what is going to intrigue one person may not intrigue another person. So it's, you
Exactly.
just have to think about what it is, who it is you're writing for, and just kind of say, what would be the best way to get them to want to read this story? Because that's what it is, the people misrepresent a lot of time what the back cover copy is. It is
Mhm.
actually more part of your marketing strategy than it is actual part of the book, even though it kind of dovetails between the two. So
Right. Yeah.
so and
Yeah.
and you are not the first person, and I'm sure you won't be the
Nor
last,
will I be the last.
that has rewritten their back cover copy, especially on first books, because you
Mhm.
don't know how it's going to be received. And quite frankly, most
Yeah.
of the time we're just guessing at what the actual audience is going to be. And then, as you said, as time goes on, you'll see that a little more clearly. It's
Mhm.
a lot of things to juggle, but you did a great job with this book. I'm very excited about that. So
Thank you. Yeah.
so I did notice, and you and I have talked, and we're part of a
Uh-huh.
group, and you offer a free quiz on your website to
Yes.
figure out what kind of well, I don't even remember exactly what was it. What is it that they're doing on this quiz?
Yeah, so it's a set of questions, that you can answer, and it will tell you which Aztec deity you are most like. So I've chosen four Aztec deities, including one that's in this book and some others that will show up in the next book. And you can determine who you are most like, if you're kind of a badass or an earth mother or a hippie guy or a lover, not a fighter, or a lover and a fighter, I think he is. I can't remember. Yeah. So it's fun and, just kind of a good way to get people to introduced to that world.
Well, I know it was fun. I went and took the test. I think I ended up being an earth mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean that's pretty much me anyway. So I wasn't surprised, and I thought it was fun, and the questions were interesting because the whole time I was taking the quiz, I kept thinking, now how is this going to translate into an Aztec deity? So that
Uh-huh.
was masterful too, because it did make me
Thanks.
kind of question, go, well, these seem like random questions to decide what kind of an Aztec god I would be. So,
Right. Yeah. Well,
but
I tried to base them a little bit on the personalities of the gods and goddesses that they were supposed to have. So,
okay.
or incorporate some of their powers. So,
Well,
yeah.
it was very fun, and I enjoyed it. Of course, we'll have the link for that, plus the links to Colleen's book. It is the Book of Star Demons. It's the Fifth Sun series. We'll have the links to that, plus all of her social media and her website, and we'll have a link to the quiz, so you guys can all go take it and see what kind of Aztec deity you are most like. But before we get to that, we want to tell them, where can they find your books? Where are they available?
So, yeah, so right now I am exclusive to Amazon. I'm in Kindle Unlimited, so it's free on Kindle Unlimited, or you can get a regular ebook or paperback on Amazon.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you are exclusive to Amazon, but that's okay. So let me ask you this. If somebody would want to get maybe a signed by the author copy, where would they contact you for that?
They can contact me through my website, actually. There is a form. Um, my web page is also attached to my freelance site. So I'm in the process of converting them over, but there's a form they can fill out and they can just put in the notes section, love a signed copy, and send me their email address, and I can get back to them and we can chat about where I would send it.
All right. Well, that sounds amazing because, we love getting those signed copies. I have a whole shelf of all my author signed copies.
Oh, fun. That's cool.
Well, I mean, if you're an author, you kind of have to support other authors, and I'm,
Yeah.
fangirl always. So, so do you have any more events that you have upcoming with this book or with the other books coming out? Or are you planning on doing live launches, book events, or any of that?
Right now, no, because I'm really trying to buckle down and get through the edits. So I haven't had much time to plan anything.
Mhm.
But as I get better at getting the books out, I'm thinking about doing, maybe some newsletter swaps or some giveaways and things like that. So, but I will keep people tuned in my newsletter. So if they want to sign up, they can learn when I've got something going on.
Okay, great. Well, we will add that newsletter sign up link for them too. So where can we find you on social media?
I am on Twitter rarely, but I'll check it once in a while. And I'm on Instagram at Colleen Valles Author, all one word. And then Facebook at Colleen Valles Author, I believe. And then Twitter is just my first and last name, Colleen Valles.
Okay, great. Well, we'll have those links for everybody. And was there anything else that you wanted to share with us today before we close out the writer's parachute?
I don't remember.
Oh, well, can you maybe just give us a hint at what's coming in book 2 so I can be excited?
Okay, yeah. Book 2, they will meet a few more Aztec gods, and the earth may once again be imperiled by a set of bad guys who are very persistent.
Oh my, oh my, oh my,
Yes.
I mean, what is an urban fantasy if the world isn't about to end in a few days?
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, we are so glad that you were able to join us today at the Writer's Parachute. I'm always excited to have new authors come on here. And of course, we invite you to stick around. And again, just remind everybody, we will have the links to all of her social media and her book and her website in the show notes. But right now, we're going to go ahead to our author tip. I always do a tip on writing, marketing, or promotion at the end of the show. We're going to pull the ripcord on that. And since she did bring up the back cover copy and blurb as part of her challenge, we're going to talk a little bit about that. So as I mentioned before, the back cover copy is part of your marketing strategy. The cover of a book is specifically to catch the eye of someone either scrolling through Amazon, walking through a bookstore, or wherever books are found. It is about catching their eye either with the title, with the graphics that are on the cover, or something else that, even the colors sometimes, the color combinations will catch someone's eye. And then once you have caught their eye, then the thing that they're going to look at next is going to be that back cover copy. And this is when most buyers make their decision about whether or not they want to buy that book. So that's why it's critical, because if you have not continued to capture their attention or their imagination or their curiosity at this point, they put the book down and move on. But if you manage to pique any kind of interest with them, then a lot of times they'll open the book, look through it, or they may just say, you know what, this sounds great, I'm going to get it. So you have to keep those things in mind when you're writing your back cover copy, that it is part of the marketing strategy. It is about capturing the reader or the buyer to purchase your book, because if they don't buy it, then they're going to have a hard time reading it. Which is kind of what we're in the business for. We're trying to get these books into the hands of the readers now. Not everybody's going to read everybody's book. I know we would love to have a world where every book is available to everyone, but a lot of times they do fall into niches. So think about who your audience is, who are the people you want to pique that interest and that curiosity with, and write towards that audience. Anybody else will just add on as they do. Something else may spark their imagination, may spark their curiosity, may cause them to purchase. And again, it will expand from that. The more reviews you get, the more recommendations you get, the more your audience grows and expands. So, I mean, I could talk about back cover copies and blurbs for days and days, but I hope that helps you. And I want you to, again, think about the movie trailer aspect. What are the highlights? What is telling the story without telling the story in the most exciting way possible? So I don't have anything else to add, but I am so glad that you were able to join us today, Colleen. Thank you so much for choosing the Writer's Parachute. And we want to definitely bring you back when book 2 is out and available. And we'll talk about those. And I'm just so very, very proud that I know you and got to read your book early. So
Yay.
Even though I haven't finished it, I'm very, very proud of you. So again, go check out Colleen Valles' book. It is Book of Star Demons, the Fifth Sun series, and this is book 1. I hope you go get it. I think you'll enjoy it. As I said, so much history, so much culture, so much just unexpected excitement all along the way. Great job. So
awesome. Thanks so much, Donna.
You're very welcome. So until next time, I hope that all of your writers' dreams come in for a great landing. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye.